You're the CEO, you're the COO, you're the C-level of your team. You talk to your users, you know what's going on. Try to bring these facts and figures from the field and convert them into conviction, and then bring it back to the table and talk to the mentors, investors, VCs, startup friends, and show them, hey, this is what we're trying to do. Of course, those questions that you're asking are valid, but this is not the situation. Here's what actually happened because we talked to this many people. This is the right thing to do. You're going to get important people next to you. They're going to get probably overwhelming people who have done great things in the past who tell you, hey, what you're trying to do is nonsense. Of course, think about it. If it's actually nonsense or not, think about it if it actually makes sense. And do you believe in yourself? If you do, prove them wrong. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is Sean. So this week I wanted to talk about filtering information. This is an interesting topic because as a founder, you will probably hear information from all different kinds of sources. You'll hear information from your other fellow peer founder friends, your friends and family. You will be actually sometimes getting mentors from the industry or people who are very high level in their position. So I learned something about how do you make sure that you get the right advice at the right time so that it's actually going to help you with your progress instead of stopping you from doing what you're trying to do. All right, so I'll start this by talking about the advice I heard from a very important mentor over the past week. He basically said that in his startup journey, he mentioned that one of the major investment banks, COO, was part of their board. And basically, they were building a financial technology startup, and these people are all very serious and experienced in fintech. And of course, as a founder, you wouldn't be going against some of the advice that you get from a CEO of a major bank, right? But in reality, what we heard is that COO probably have never been building a startup by him or herself in the past, which means that they have started their entire career from a very structured and very stable position and all the way progressed until they became the C-level of a major company. And that means that they probably have never experienced a ton of hustle out there on the street. They probably have not taken so much rejection that they start doubting themselves. But instead, they probably have been very experienced in dealing with a team with more than 1,000 or even 10,000, 100,000 people. But that doesn't mean that their advice would be the best advice you can hear as a startup founder. So this mentor said that they basically probably learned this the hard way, and they mentioned that it's all about filtering the information that you heard from someone else. So that happens to us as well, right? So as a founder, as someone, constantly get reached out by people who are looking for founders to talk to, people who are interested in investing in seed round, or just mentors or other investors that are around you. It's very common to hear very mixed feedback all the time. And it's the same for us, even if, as I mentioned in one of our earlier videos, that we made super fast progress in the past week or so. We already trying to launch our application on App Store and the Play Store, and we got probably like 10 downloads in 3 days with just a testing version. But still, people start questioning you and be like, hey, are you even trying to solve the right problem? It's not exciting for me. Even though they probably have never done a lot of the street work out there, they question if you have the right background, they question if you have the right skill set. Of course, these are valid questions, right? Because if you're going to eventually fundraise, you're going to face these questions. But you need to be very careful about what you heard and what actually is happening, right? Because in our case, for example, we know that what we're trying to do is not rocket science. We know that we don't need a very, very strong chief technology officer from day one, but we will need to hire a founding engineer at some point, right? In my opinion, so far with our team's background, we're very sufficient for building something very nice and neat and simple and just push it out on the market. But you might heard these kind of advice from people coming from more from an experience perspective and be like, hey, this is what a typical team would look like. All you got to do is, do you actually believe in yourself? Do you actually believe in the things you're trying to do? Do you actually believe in the team that you're working with? That's the most important thing. Are you still making progress every single day? Are you still talking to users? Are you still getting feedback from these people, right? And eventually you might change these people's mind, which is what we did. Initially, we got a lot of questions about, are you guys the right team? Why are you guys the right team to solve this problem? And later, we just proved that we can make progress. We are actually making progress really fast. Yeah, like we're going to make progress no matter what, right? So you take advice from people who have probably been in your shoes and probably have experienced similar situations where they get mixed information all the time. And then at the end of the day, it's all about deciding based on what is happening to you right now, right? You're the CEO, you're the COO, you're the C-level of your team, you're the CTO. You talk to your users, you know what's going on. Try to bring these facts and figures from the field and convert them into conviction, and then bring it back to the table and talk to the mentors, investors, VCs, startup friends, and show them, hey, this is what we're trying to do. Of course, those questions that you're asking are valid, but this is not the situation. Here's what actually happened because we talked to this many people, and this many people have reflected that these are the pain points, right? So this is the right thing to do. If you feel lost, or to the future version of Sean here watching this video again, if you feel lost, if you feel like you're hearing so many mixed information all the time, just ask yourself 3 questions. Number 1, have you been talking to the users? Is that something that you can get from the users instead of from people who have not talked to these users, right? Number 2, are you still making progress? Are you still pushing for change, right? Are you still trying to gain adoption out there? Are people still, remaining on your platform? Do you have retention? This is the most important validation out there, right? Number 3, do you believe in your team? Do you trust your team? Does the rest of the team also believe that there's something wrong here, right? Or do the rest of the team feel like, hey, the information we get from the market, from the users, tell us that this is the right thing to do? Then it is the right thing to do. So I think as a conclusion, it's very important as a founder, as a team, to know what information is important to you and filter them out instead of take all of them in, right? As I mentioned earlier, this mentor who shared his personal experience with us about this major bank C-level advice on the board. Yeah, that happens all the time. You're going to get important people next to you. They're going to get probably overwhelming people who have done great things in the past who tell you, hey, what you're trying to do is nonsense. Of course, think about it. If it's actually nonsense or not, think about it if it actually makes sense. And do you believe in yourself? If you do, prove them wrong. So yeah, this is it. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe, or leave a comment down below if you think differently or think similarly. And I would love to chat more. Thanks. Peace.